Okay, this is exciting. This just arrived at my front door, the new Aeotec Indoor Siren 6. So we're going to connect this up to our Aeotec SmartThings hub and start writing some routines so that if the flood sensor that I have gets wet, that it should alert this alarm as well, this alert. And so this thing's pretty useful because it can also be used, I understand, as a door phone chime, but also as an alarm in case one of your sensors go off. So one thing real quick, let me just show you what I've learned about it already. So on the back, this is where the power plugs in, and you plug the power in, and it's also got a wall mount. And the wall mount is pretty cool. It looks like it when you plug it in, it also acts as strain relief on the power cord, so you can't just pull it out. So that looks pretty cool. So let me plug it in and see if we can get it attached to our Aeotec SmartThings hub. Okay, so let's just plug it in to start with, and then I'll have to log into SmartThings here. Hold on. Okay, so let's try to add a device, and I think it's a siren. Let's see that. Siren, Aeotec, supported devices, Siren 6. Okay, let's get started. Start. That's the hub. We're going to put this actually, I think, in the laundry room. Press the button once. So on the back, it's got a add button. That looks like it starts to, okay. Scan the QR code on the device. Is there a QR code on this device? I don't see a QR code, no. There's no QR code on here. Enter a PIN code instead. Oh, I see. Okay. It says enter the first 5 digits of the code shown. 33337, done. Add the device. Oh, look, it added the Aeotec Siren. Let's call it done. Cool. So we have the device. Okay, so let me turn this off and see if I can't write something that as this gets wet, it makes this go on. Okay, so here's how we can add it in the animation. So I've already got an animation here. Animation. I've already got an automation that says if the laundry room senses a leak, if it's wet, then what happens? Well, it alerts members that there's a leak, saying there's a leak on the floor. Let's add something. Let's control a device. Let's call it the siren. And then let's say that we want an alarm, siren and strobe, and save and save. So now it should do two things. If this automation runs, if this is wet, it should alert members on their cell phones, and it should also do this siren end strobe. So that'll be interesting. We'll try that. While it's doing that, I also have this smart app running, and the smart app says that if the water sensor gets wet, to play this custom greeting on the Sonos speaker in the living room. Okay, so that's cool. And then it says if the music was playing, to resume the music once that's done. So we should be able to test all of that stuff. All we gotta do is go get the sensor and get it wet, and then we can try it. Okay, so I went and got the flood sensor, and there's my alarm. And here's a little bit of water. Let's see if it gets wet and if it alerts. Wow. Okay, there's the Sonos amp. It should be on, so let's see. Come on, get wet. So, okay, that worked. Okay, so that seemed to work, except that the chime, of course, sounded more like a doorbell and not a siren. So we're going to want to modify that. So let's go into the device itself and go into settings. And here, this is the sound type right here. Tap to set. So then you go and look at here, and it says it's got different security alarms. So we want alarm, which is type 17. So I think if I change this to 17 and save. So this has got the volume 0 to 100. Let's put it to 100. Oh, 100. Say save. Send sound and volume configuration. Okay. I don't know what endpoint means. Set endpoint. Endpoint explanation determines which endpoint to control. 1 to browse, 2 tamper, 3 button push, 2 button push. Okay, I think that I just leave that, right? Okay, so anyway, let's try that. Okay, so here's what I had to do. I had to go into my automations and say, okay, if the flood sensor sees a leak and it gets wet, if the condition is wet, then send it to everyone's cell phone, let them know there's water on the floor. Plus, I want you to use this siren, sound number 8, siren end strobe. So it should do all those things. So then if we go and look at the siren, then you can see that here's where you can test number 8. So if we hit this, we test it, we know it's working fine. And if we go into the settings, this is where we can say endpoint number 8, 100% volume, and what sound we chose. And you send the configuration to the unit. And that should be it, right? So if we now, I've got some water in this dish, and if I put this sensor in there, so it just told me it got moved, but if I put it in here, there we go. The flood sensor is wet. This is urgent. All right, so I think that all works.